Welcome, everybody. This is my first ever YouTube video that we're also going to link onto Facebook. I wanted to just take a quick minute to talk through some updates on the Living Earth Farm side of things. So, my piece of property that I have here in Brevard, North Carolina, I am calling Living Earth Farm this year. And I am really excited to do some really big things. But I've had some life things come up recently that have had me change what I was thinking. So I was hoping this year to get to really sell some produce, whether that's to a farmer's market or to restaurants or a CSA or to local grocery stores. Like I had big plans, started all my baby seeds inside to make those plans happen, get them up and running. Um, and then I lost my job. I was let go with no notice from my job. No hard feelings there by any means, but it definitely threw a wrench in my plans. And it made me realize that while some extra income from selling produce is very helpful, if I have a bumper crop of zucchinis, I'll definitely try to sell some zucchinis or tomatoes. But it just made me realize without a full-time job, how can I feed myself first on the most minimal amounts that I possibly can? So when I say minimal amount, as in minimal trips to the grocery store, minimum amount of dollars going out of my pocket to pay for food. And I figured that could be something really helpful, not only just for me, but for anybody else that falls on a hard time, whether you also lose a job suddenly or someone gets sick in your family and you have to take care of them instead of working as much as you'd like. And I really think creating a space inside your home and outside your home that can provide you with a lot of food for yourself and maybe some extra income can be really helpful for everybody. Um, so that's where we're shifting our focus to this year. So my goal going forward is to try to have my grocery bill be under $20 a week, eating what I have set up in my pantry already, what I have set up in my hydroponic indoor system, and what I plan on growing outside. So I'm very excited to get some of this information out there. I created a whole inventory system for my pantry finally. I did all some of these really big things that I'd love to talk about. Gardening on a budget. How do you do that without breaking the bank if you don't have a lot in the bank to make that happen? So this was just my quick intro video. If you don't know who I am and some of my story, my name is Gabby. Welcome to my channel at Living Earth Farm. I have been gardening, homesteading, permaculture nerd for a good 5 years or more at this point. I love growing plants. I love growing food. I do have an indoor hydroponic setup. It's crack key hydroponics, so I don't have an ebb and flow system. They're actually set up in half-gallon mason jars. And so that's going to be a whole separate video to walk you guys through the cost of setting that up. Was it worth setting up? What I would do differently from the start. Same thing with all of my garden beds outside. I'm on a really small piece of property. Brevard, North Carolina is in western North Carolina. And my piece of property is zero point 0.2 of an acre, and most of it is a septic drain field or straight gravel. So I really only have my front yard that I can grow in, which is unfortunate. I was hoping for more space here, but that's okay. I so I don't have a lot of grow space outside. I do have, I believe, seven pretty large garden beds of all varying heights. Some of them are basically just on the ground, while others are maybe about 2 or 3 feet off the ground. I've tried to get really thrifty with some of the things that I've done and made outside, so I would love other posts to be all about how I made the garden beds out of free wood because wood is expensive if you're trying to create a raised garden bed, how I have been able to fill those garden beds relatively cheaply. It's not the most cheap thing to fill a raised garden bed, but I've been able to try to do that on a budget as well. Um, so yeah, just really kind of help you guys as I'm expanding my own journey, help everybody else on the way to learn more about a mix of everything: permaculture, preparedness, plant-based living. Those are my three P's that I love to talk about. So we will go down the rabbit hole for all of that. If you listened previously I did have a podcast for a while called the Happy Hippie Homestead, which was a mouthful. So we definitely needed a rebrand. So I will be bringing all those podcast episodes over though, so we don't lose all that awesome content and going from there. So I'm hoping to post podcast, YouTube videos, get into a newsletter. I'm thinking every other week on a newsletter and then every week on YouTube and sorry, I've got my little plan over here. Every other week on a newsletter, every week on a blog post, podcast, and YouTube. Facebook, I'll probably post maybe 2 or 3 times a week. We'll see how once we get going. So yeah, stay tuned. I'm hoping to just give out a lot of amazing content for anybody that needs it, and we'll go from there. All right, thanks.